Picking up right where we left off, we've just picked up the Psycho Slider, the most horribly overpowered action RPG ability I can currently think of. You just double tap to run, push attack, and you slide. And where you slide may not be within the bounds of conventional geometry, as we saw just now. You can slide under pretty much anything you want. You can slide under obstacles, you can slide under attacks, you can slide under walls, you can slide under whatever you damn well please. Because the thing about the Psycho Slider is that while you're doing any part of it, you are completely invincible. Oh, and you also deal massive amounts of damage to anything you touch, and there's no charge-up time, and all you really need is enough space to start running. You don't even have to run that far before you can do it. Oh, and it also easily hits multiple times depending on where in your animation you catch the enemy. It's pretty much bonkers. It's completely insane. So, of course, we're going to be using it quite extensively as we finish off this dungeon. That guy got lucky and only took one hit. These guys, however, are really big and easy to catch with it, so they take 2 hits. Pretty much all the time. Now, a Psycho Slide consists of starting to drop down to the ground, the full slide, and then a brief moment where you're starting to get up. But that's about it. So, let's declare open season on WILLSANITY by taking out these golems and avoiding this thing while taking no damage whatsoever. Ain't no thing. Killing these slimes makes one of those statues appear. You might recall them from the first video, where they were used to mark off where a hidden item was. They're used much in the same way here, except it's slightly more difficult. Now, technically I should be sliding across those spikes all the time, but for some reason I keep forgetting that I can literally slide through whatever I damn well please, without getting hurt. Finally, we pick up our first power-up of the entire dungeon. It's a point of strength, which just means that the Psycho Slider is going to kill things more effectively than previously. Now, this one's a little tougher to find, the Statue of Hope, because you can't see either of the statues involved. You just kind of have to guess at it until you finally get to the tile that it's on. And really, there's not many tiles it could be on. It happens to be this one. Why yes, there is another room with that same name, but it is quite a ways back. In fact, we have to backtrack, significantly. And there's basically no enemies during this entire retread, so I'm gonna cut it out. But before we can even get to the retread, we first have to get back out of here and turn left at this wall. Okay, that's the second Room of Hope right down there. It was previously concealed by the water. But now we can head back around. And there we go. Finally, that staircase we saw at the very beginning of the dungeon is revealed. Second Room of Hope. Just as creepy as the first. Except this time, the Phantoms are going to play a game called Irish Drinking Song with the help of Laura Hall and Linda Taylor. Or maybe they're just going to repeat the same 2 lines that they did last time. Personally, I'd listen to a moo drinking song, sung from the perspective of a 10-year-old. Now that we've finished off lowering and removing all of the water, we can get this red jewel. It happens to be the only red jewel in the entire place, which is kind of strange given how big it is. If I had to guess, I would say it had something to do with the fact that there were 3 in the Seaside Palace, and this just balances them out somehow. Now, the next thing we need to do is go back to the dark space where we found the Psycho Slider. Might have seen a chest down below on the way over here. That has one of the remaining 2 items we need to fight the boss. Now that we're done with all the hoping, we need to get some statues of Rama, who is, the god of whatever, like those phantoms were telling us. And speaking of phantoms, this one's a jerk. Thankfully, killing it gives us a sweet, merciful point of defense, something we've been sorely lacking in. And the rest of the trip is completely uneventful, so, yeah. Well, I tell a lie. Uneventful except for this guy. Unfortunately, there are... Oh. These phantoms, they just keep sneaking up. I'm just gonna have to abuse room geometry to show them what's up. Yeah, the Psycho Slider really does that. Sometimes you just go straight through things that you can't go through. But other times you get completely stopped by things that you don't think you're touching. Anyways, quick heal up, and then we'll descend to the bottom level of Mu and get our hands on some statues. Statues we're going to be picking up are, again, Rama statues, and we're going to need to find the room of Rama to put them both in. There's only one, unlike last time where there were 2. You might have seen it already. It's that big, gaping doorway beneath the water from before. Phantoms can get really tricky when there's multiples of them just swarming around you. It's a good thing that we took out all the other phantoms on the way, instead of waiting for everything to be revealed before killing them. If 3 or 4 phantoms got a hold of you at the same time, I think you'd be in pretty big trouble. Oh no, now that everything's revealed and we're getting power-ups, Mu suddenly doesn't seem very difficult at all. In fact, for all of its maze-like qualities, most of the passages end very quickly in dead ends, showing that there's really only one true way forward. We quickly find the first statue of Rama. In actuality, Mu is a pretty short dungeon. Most of the dungeon time is taken up by backtracking, which is not my favorite thing in the world, but as a viewer, you have the ability to not have to watch any of that. Second Rama statue is over here, along with the last 2 enemies in the dungeon. Allow me to demonstrate something else that is cool. Not only did we get a Rama statue, we also made the game lose its mind just a bit. Like the Psycho Dash, the Psycho Slide can actually knock enemies into each other and hit them with ricochet damage. However, if you do that and trigger an event at the same time, such as picking up the statue and opening the chest, some weirdness happens where the enemy appears to take damage twice. Fortunately, it didn't actually take it twice, or our single flute swipe would have killed it immediately. What it did seem to do, though, was actually make it take the full damage from the Psycho Slider instead of ricochet damage. And I really have no clue why. It seems to fly in the face of everything I thought I knew. Alright. So now we have both statues, and we've saved our game. There's only one thing left to do, and that's switch back to Fred. And the reason I'm doing this instead of just straight up fighting the bosses with will is that there's a part of me, this is the part where I think a lot of people quit as a child, and I say that only because this is where I quit as a child the first time around before eventually figuring it out. The trick is, how do you get back to where you can transform into Fred, but then get back to where the boss is? And the answer is really simple. It's just Mu appears to be so big that it does a really good job of bamboozling you into thinking that it's harder than it is. Getting back to the dark space is the easy part. The tough part is making sure that you take the right direction once you've transformed. And in fact, as long as you pick the correct fork in the path at the very start, it's impossible to get lost on the way back, because it's just a straight line shot. So basically, all you need to do to ensure that you get back properly is take this exit right here. There it is. And you literally can't get lost on the way back. I may jump cut, to save time, but there's no opportunity to get lost. You can't do it. And with that taken care of, let's go shoot fireballs at some vampires. In here is the Room of Rama. Much like the Rooms of Hope, we have to place these statues on the altar. At which point we begin to seriously trip out. Those face statues are pretty awesome, by the way. And that is the story of how the Chaos Comet seriously fucked up Mu. Though to be fair, I would listen to a horribly mutated by the Chaos Comet's light Irish drinking song. Rama's nice enough to give us a mystic statue, but as the manual warns us, even if you don't have to fight somebody to get it, there will be a fight coming up shortly. And in fact, it's right in here. Damn it, Eric, what have you done now? Well, I guess it turns out that the only reason we didn't get ghosted with everybody else is so that we could go get the mystic statue for them. Pretty classic, actually. It's one of the oldest tricks in the book. Your opponents this time are Jack and Sylvana the vampires, along with that timer that's above Eric's head. He is of course strapped to a bomb, and if it goes off you'll lose a life and have to try again. These enemies are entirely projectile-based. In fact, you take no contact damage from running into them at all, unless they happen to be firing a projectile, at which point it's only because the projectile's point of origin is directly on their sprite. Getting close to them or hitting them triggers the rotating orbs to fly out of them, and standing in their line of sight or near it causes them to fire along the ground. Jack fires in 4 directions, making him the far more dangerous vampire of the two. Sylvana only 1. Their most devastating attack is this combo blast. Being hit by it probably hurts you about 6 or 7. Just don't get hit by it, and especially don't stand in it and run along with it as it's going, or you'll get hit multiple times and be very sad. Unless, of course, you're playing as Will and sliding through it, in which case you'll hit 0 times and have a good laugh. Each of them has a little quip for when the other one is killed. I skipped by it a little too fast because I was in the heat of battle, but I'll put up a screenshot in the thread. And we'll also do things the other way around in our special bonus video. Unfortunately, after I take out Jack, Sylvana decides that she's going to play keep away and run out the clock. I don't appreciate this one bit, but I also can't afford to play as aggressively as I'd like, because I'm an herb hoarding idiot, and I don't have much health left. Fortunately, I got this. And with 10 seconds left, we can... Wait a minute, Fred, what are you doing? Why are you transforming right now? There's a bomb about to go off. Damn it! Urgh. You can't defuse the bomb from this side. Eric, I hate you so much. Yes, it turns out that if the time runs out while you're still fighting the vampires, you lose a life. The bomb goes off. But if the time runs out after you beat the vampires, it turns out to be a dud. Whether there's time or not, cutting the red wire or the blue wire makes no difference. Eric notes that we didn't fight the boss as Will, but he just thinks that Fred is a disguise instead of an insane alter ego that likes to stab or shoot things. And look, suddenly everyone is here. I want to know how they got past the orb chains of death. And with that, we're finished with Moo. Join us next time when we walk through a tunnel and eat some shrooms. No, really.